It is Friday, the 21st day of April 2023. Eid Mubarak to all our Muslim brothers and sisters celebrating the day. We hope that you're having a fantastic day. Hello and welcome to the News International Edition. I'm Emma Akwero. Let's start off today from Sudan, where warring forces battled Friday with heavy gunfire and explosions in the capital, Khartoum, and elsewhere in the country as they ignored appeals by world powers for an end of Ramadan ceasefire. More than 300 people have been killed and thousands wounded since the fighting erupted on Saturday between forces loyal to Sudan's army chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and his deputy Mohammed Hamdan Daglo, the commander of the powerful paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, who is commonly known as Hemeti. Let us start with warring Sudan, where our Muslim brothers and sisters are celebrating Eid el-Fitr today, the 21st day of April.
Khartoum has seen some of the fiercest fighting, with airstrikes and tanks firing in densely packed districts, with most of its 5 million people sheltering at home in baking heat without electricity, food or water. Communications are heavily disrupted. The Central Committee of Sudan doctors said that overnight, as the Eid al-Fitr celebrations marking the end of the Muslim Ramadan month of fasting began, several areas of Khartoum were bombed and reported shelling and clashes for the 6th straight night. Both United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres and U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken called separately for a ceasefire over at least 3 days to mark Eid as explosions and gunfire resounded in Khartoum.
I appeal for a ceasefire to take place for at least 3 days, marking the Eid al-Fitr celebrations, to allow civilians trapped in conflict zones to escape and to seek medical treatment, food, and other essential supplies.
The RSF, a powerful force formed from members of the Janjaweed militia that led years of extreme violence in the western Darfur region, said they would commit to a 72-hour ceasefire starting at dawn on Thursday. But like two previous declared 24-hour ceasefires, it failed to take hold. The crack of intense gunfire continued Friday morning, with columns of black smoke rising across the capital. For the first time since hostilities began a week ago, Burhan appeared on television. Medics have warned of a catastrophe, with over 2/3 of hospitals in Khartoum and neighboring states rendered out of service by the fighting, the doctors' union said. The International Crisis Group, IGC, warned urgent steps were needed to stop a descent into full-blown civil war, warning the nightmare scenario that many feared in Sudan is unfolding. Burhan and Daglo's bitter fight is centered on the planned integration of the RSF into the regular army, a key condition for a final deal aimed at restoring Sudan's democratic transition.
Still from Sudan, the political unrest. Here's a short profile of General Abdel Fattah Abdelrahman al-Burhan, head of the Sudanese army, which will be coming to you shortly. Al-Burhan also said on April 20th that there was no room for negotiations with his rival paramilitary commander Mohammed Hamdan Daglo, as fighting between the two sides enters its 6th day.
Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, born on the 11th of July 1960, is a Sudanese army general who is the de facto ruler of Sudan. Following the Sudanese revolution in April 2019, he was handed control of the military junta, the Transitional Military Council, a day after it was formed, due to protesters' dissatisfaction with establishment ties of initial leader Ahmed Awad ibn Auf. He served as chairman of the TMC until a traditional constitutional declaration signed with civilians went into effect in August 2019, and a collective head of state Transitional Sovereignty Council was formed, also to be initially headed by al-Burhan.
للقادة الكرام الذين وقعوا.
The 2020 Juba Agreement allowed Al-Burhan to continue to lead the Sovereignty Council for another 20 months rather than stepping down as planned in February 2021. Al-Burhan seized power in a coup d'etat in October 2021, dissolved the new Sovereignty Council and reconstituted it the following month with new membership, keeping himself as chairperson. He was formerly the General Inspector of the Sudanese Armed Forces. In May 2019, Al-Burhan's first international trip was to Egypt to meet Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. His second visit was to the United Arab Emirates.
Now, Muslims around the world are celebrating Eid al-Fitr, and thousands of people gathered at a mosque in Jerusalem for Eid prayers at the end of the fasting month of Ramadan. The daytime fasting of Ramadan is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. Observant Muslims refrain from eating and drinking from dawn to dusk and traditionally gather with family or friends to break their fast in the evening. It is also a time for prayer, with the faithful converging in large numbers on mosques, especially at night. We have more.
As the world celebrates Eid, Saudi Arabia, home to Islam's holiest shrines, and other Sunni Muslim countries announced Thursday that the holiday of Eid al-Fitr, marking the end of the Ramadan fast, would begin on Friday. In some countries with a Shiite Muslim majority, authorities have said the holiday will start on Saturday. Tomorrow, Friday, is the first day of Eid al-Fitr for this year, with Thursday, the last day of the holy month of Ramadan, the official Saudi press agency said on its Twitter account, citing a royal court statement. The timing of Eid al-Fitr is determined by the sighting of the crescent moon in accordance with the Muslim lunar calendar. The holiday is normally celebrated with family gatherings. Authorities in the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Jordan, and Sudan also announced Eid al-Fitr would start on Friday. In Lebanon, Sunni clerics said the holiday would begin on Friday, while some Shiite leaders announced a Saturday start to the holiday. Libya, ruled by 2 rival administrations, will mark Eid on Friday in the country's east and on Saturday in areas under the control of the Tripoli-based government. Statements from Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and Iraq's highest Shiite authority, Grand Ayatollah Ali Sistani, said Eid would start on Saturday in their countries. Oman will also start Eid on Saturday, as well as Indonesia, the world's most populous Muslim-majority nation. Fasting is widely practiced in Saudi Arabia, home of the holiest shrines in Islam in Mecca and Medina. Saudis are expected to observe a 4-day holiday for Eid al-Fitr.
The News International will now take a short break, but please stay with us.
This week.